The holographic transmission flickered to life across every inhabited world in the known galaxy. The Zalthar Dominion, ancient rulers of the stars, materialized in their terrifying glory, crystalline exoskeletons pulsing with bioluminescent fury, multiple appendages raised in what their species considered a war stance. "The truce is broken," proclaimed High Commander Zexkal, his voice transmitted through quantum frequencies. 10,000 years of peace end today. Humanity will face annihilation. On Earth's orbital station Prometheus 7, Bella Martinez leaned back in her chair, coffee mug in hand, watching the broadcast with barely contained amusement. Around her, the command center erupted, not in panic but in laughter. "They're serious this time," Liu Chen said from his station, though his grin betrayed his lack of concern. The young tactical officer had joined the Human Defense Initiative only 3 years ago, long after the galaxy had learned to fear his species. Bella took a sip of her coffee, savoring the rich blend grown in Mars's terraformed valleys. "Pull up THE Chinese letter, Leo. Let's see. What was it last time? The Kravan Empire declaring holy war because we terraformed a planet they considered sacred." "That was 800 years ago," Leo confirmed, fingers dancing across holographic displays. "Before that, the sentient collective tried to assimilate us. Before that, the Void Reapers attempted genocide." He paused. "Should I continue? The list goes back quite a while." The Zalthar had ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years before humanity stumbled into space. They had witnessed civilizations rise and fall, had crushed rebellions across 1,000 worlds, and had maintained order through superior technology and ruthless efficiency. The Truce, established 10,000 years ago after humanity's first contact war, had been their greatest concession, a recognition that one species had proven too troublesome to eliminate. Now apparently they'd forgotten why. Bella stood, her lean frame moving with the unconscious grace of someone who'd spent decades in variable gravity. At 247 years old, she was young by modern standards, but she'd studied history. Real history, not the sanitized versions taught to other species. "Open a channel," she ordered. The communications officer, a woman with neural implants glowing softly at her temples, nodded. "Channel open, Commander Martinez." Bella smiled at the Zalthar delegation. "High Commander Zexkal, this is Commander Bella Martinez of the Human Defense Initiative. Before you commit to this course of action, I feel obligated to remind you why the truce was established in the first place." The aliens' crystalline features contorted in what their translators interpreted as contempt. "Your species has grown complacent, human. You have forgotten your place in the cosmic order. The Dominion will remind you." Leo pulled up tactical displays, more out of habit than necessity. The Zalthar were mobilizing their war fleets, impressive vessels that had conquered countless worlds, plasma cannons capable of glassing planets, shields that could withstand stellar radiation, faster-than-light drives that bent spacetime itself. Terrifying technology for anyone else. "Leo," Bella said calmly, "what's our current population?" "Galactic census puts us at 890 billion across 2,347 settled worlds and habitats," he replied. "That's not counting the generation ships still in transit or the colony pods in dark space. And our industrial capacity: 17,000 major shipyards, 340,000 automated manufacturing stations, mining operations on 12,000 celestial bodies." Leo's smile widened. "Should I mention the von Neumann swarms?" "Not yet." Bella turned back to the still broadcasting Zalthar. "High Commander, let me tell you a story. It's about why your predecessors agreed to the truce. 10,000 years ago, humanity had been confined to a mere 50 star systems. The Zalthar Dominion, at the height of its power, had controlled 10,000. When first contact turned violent, a misunderstanding involving a human mining colony and a Zalthar breeding world, The aliens had expected swift victory. They had destroyed Earth's moon with a kinetic bombardment. It was supposed to be a demonstration of power, a shock-and-awe tactic that had worked on hundreds of species. Instead, it became the Zalthars' greatest mistake. Humans, Bella continued, her voice soft but carrying an edge sharp as quantum blades, don't respond well to threats, especially not to the murder of billions. Leo brought up the historical records, projecting them for the Zalthar to see. Images of humanity's response to Luna's destruction flooded the holographic display. Within 3 months, every human colony had converted to war production. Civilian shipyards became military foundries. Mining operations shifted to weapons-grade materials. And humanity, with its peculiar gift for controlled violence, began to build. The Zalthar had destroyed one moon. Humanity's response was to mobilize 40 billion soldiers, construct 100,000 warships, and develop weapons that made the Dominion's plasma cannons look like children's toys. "We invented the matter disintegration beam in week 7, Bella said conversationally. The temporal displacement missile in week 12. By month 6, we developed the entropy accelerator, a lovely little device that ages entire star systems by billions of years in seconds." Zexkal's bioluminescence flickered, a sign of uncertainty in his species. "These weapons, they violate galactic convention, the prohibited technologies." "Were prohibited because of us," Leo interrupted cheerfully, "after we used them." The first battle of the Human-Zalthar War had been catastrophic. The Dominion sent 5,000 ships to crush the human colony of New Harmony. They arrived to find a human fleet 1/10 their size. They also arrived to find themselves outgunned, outmaneuvered, and outthought at every turn. Humanity had spent 10,000 years as a species fighting itself, perfecting the art of war through countless conflicts, developing tactics and strategies in the crucible of survival. When they turned that expertise toward external threats, the results were devastating. The Zalthar lost 4,000 ships that day. The human fleet lost 37. "After New Harmony," Bella continued, "your people tried to escalate. You sent 50,000 ships to attack Sol's system directly. Do you know what happened?" Zexkal remained silent, but his color had shifted to pale blue fear. "We won," Bella said simply. "Not just won, we annihilated your fleet so completely that it took your empire 200 years to recover. And then, because we're not actually genocidal maniacs despite what your propaganda says, we offered the truce." Leo pulled up the treaty terms, displaying them for all to see. The 10,000-year truce had been remarkably simple. The Zalthar would not interfere with human expansion. Humanity would not actively seek the Dominion's destruction. Both species would maintain their territories and coexist. "We kept our word," Bella said. "For 10 millennia, we've honored that agreement. We've even helped defend Dominion worlds when the Void Reapers emerged from dark space. We've shared medical technology that extended your species' lifespan by 40%. We've been good neighbors." She set down her coffee mug with a soft clink. "But make no mistake, High Commander, the only reason your civilization still exists is because we chose mercy. We could have ended the Zalthar Dominion 10,000 years ago. We still can." In the command center, technicians were already running scenarios. Not because they thought humanity would lose. That outcome hadn't been in question for millennia. But because they needed to calculate acceptable losses, collateral damage, and reconstruction timelines. "Current projections," Leo reported, "show complete Dominion defeat in 18 months if they commit their full fleet. Humanity would suffer approximately 15 billion casualties, mostly civilian. We'd lose maybe 2,000 worlds to scorched Earth tactics. Economically, we'd recover in 50 years. "And the Zalthar?" Bella asked. "Extinct in 24 months, total species death." The calculations were cold, precise, and utterly terrifying. Not because they were exaggerated, but because they were conservative estimates based on known human capabilities. They didn't account for the weapons humanity had developed in the last 10,000 years of peace. They didn't factor in the technologies kept in classified archives, the contingency plans updated every decade, or the simple, terrible fact that humanity had spent 10 millennia preparing for the day someone broke the truce. Bella looked at Zexkul, and for the first time, the ancient alien seemed to truly understand what stood before him. Not a primitive species lucky enough to stumble onto advanced technology. Not newcomers who'd won a few battles through chance and desperation. But apex predators who had climbed from Earth's gravity well carrying nothing but curiosity and violence, who had turned both traits toward the stars and found themselves very, very good at survival. "So here's what's going to happen," Bella said, her voice gentle as a mother explaining consequences to a child. "You're going to return to your Dominion Council. You're going to tell them that you made a mistake, and you're going to reaffirm the truce, preferably with another 10,000-year extension." "And if we refuse?" Zexkul asked, though his voice had lost its earlier conviction. Bella smiled, and it was not a kind expression. "Then humanity will remind the galaxy why every species that's ever declared war on us has either sued for peace or gone extinct. There is no third option. There never has been." Leo stood beside her, pulling up one final display, a real-time map of human military assets. Thousands of fleets, millions of ships, weapons platforms orbiting dark matter reservoirs, and strike teams positioned across dimensional boundaries most species didn't even know existed. "We're not angry," Bella added. "We're not even particularly offended. We understand that species forget. That's why we keep records. That's why we build monuments to wars past, to remember what we're capable of so we never have to prove it again." The transmission hung in silence for a long moment. In the background, the Prometheus 7 crew had stopped laughing, not because the situation had become serious, but because their commander had made the situation clear. Finally, Zexkul's crystalline form seemed to shrink slightly. "The Dominion Council will reconsider its position. The truce will be honored." "Excellent choice," Bella said warmly. "We'll send over some updated trade agreements and a case of that Martian coffee you enjoyed at the last diplomatic summit. Leo, make sure they get the good blend." The transmission ended, and the command center erupted in applause and relieved laughter. Another war averted, another species reminded that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't its technology or its numbers. It was its absolute unwillingness to lose. Leo approached Bella as she retrieved her coffee mug. "Think they'll actually honor it this time?" "For another 10,000 years, probably," she replied. "And if not, well, we'll be ready. We're always ready." She looked out at the stars, at the vast expanse humanity had claimed not through conquest but through sheer, stubborn refusal to stop expanding. 890 billion people, across thousands of worlds, all descended from primates who had once fought with sticks and stones. Now they fought with weapons that could unravel spacetime itself. And they only used them when absolutely necessary. That, Bella thought, was what made humanity truly terrifying. Not that they could destroy civilizations, but that they chose not to, until someone forced their hand. The 10,000-year truce would continue, because in the end, even the galaxy's oldest empires understood one simple truth. Humanity only laughs at declarations of war, because they've already won every scenario where violence becomes necessary. And that laughter, it was the sound of apex predators recognizing an empty threat.